What's going on, NDM crew? This video we're bringing you an STI edition with the B on my hand. Let's do this.
Alright guys, it's been a while since we did an STI video, so here it goes. We threw a set of coilovers on this thing quite recently and we got lots of footage for you. So we want to run you through the procedure, assembling the coilovers themselves. We got a set of KW variant 3s for it. Pretty high end, not the best you can buy, but you know what, we couldn't pass up the deal we got, so we wanted to get something good for it. Yeah, so we're going to show you how to assemble them because they don't come with top hats. We got a set of Group N STI top hats for it. So yeah, let's do this. Okay guys, the instruction manual is going to be your friend with this assembly process. It can be a little tricky. There's a lot of little tips and tricks in there for setting up the suspension. So for the first one, the stud on the center of the top hat needs to line up with the top spring coil on the rear suspension, but I did realize later on that can be adjusted with the struts on the car when you're doing your spring rates. Obviously having a spring compressor is necessary for this job. Ours is wall mounted. I have seen other kits where they can be done on a bench with an impact gun kind of compressing the spring. Also for the top nut that holds together the top hat and the piston of the strut, make sure you're not spinning that like crazy with an impact gun, because if the strut inside spins, the piston, it can damage the seal, so you want to make sure that you're being careful there. Once we got our coilovers assembled, we're going to start taking apart the interior of our car to install the rear coilovers. That's the hardware there behind the seat belt for the top hats in the rear. Nick is very thoroughly showing us all the fasteners that need to be removed in order to take the front struts out. When installing these struts, guys, especially in the rear and the front, it can be done by yourself, but make sure you have two people, one person starting the nuts at the top and one person feeding it in. Also, I want to make a note that on these coilovers, the little expansion tank on the side of them needs to be towards the rear of the car. Another cool feature these coilovers give us is that the rear suspension now has camber adjustment. So where the coilover attaches to the knuckle, the top bolt is slotted. So that's going to give us a little bit of negative camber adjustment, maybe a little bit of positive, but most people will be going negative. Typically an ABS sensor and a strut is a no heat zone, but in this case we didn't really have too much of a choice. Kind of developed a little trick here to save the ABS sensor, and it worked out pretty nicely. Keep in mind that the front suspension already has a camber adjustment, so we don't want to mix up those two bolts there, and we kind of want to make sure we remember the orientation of them, and it'll make it way easier for doing an alignment. When you're installing the coilovers to the knuckle, guys, keep in mind you may get lucky. You may be able to get the camber close. So I usually try and center it where it looks pretty much 0 degrees camber by eye, and then push it forward a little bit, give it a tad of negative, and you might get right on spec. After you got your struts on, you can get your wheels on, torque them up, set the tire pressures, and get ready for an alignment. But that's a whole other video on its own, so let us know in the comments if you want to see that. If you like this video, throw us a thumbs up, and hey, subscribe while you're at it too. Stay classy, crew.